You're tuned into Light Codes After Hours. Light Codes After Dark with Light Code Larry. How's everybody doing out there? How's everybody doing out there on this crazy pendulum we call Earth? Yeah. You know, the split we always talk about, it doesn't matter who's who in the Starseed game, the channels, the split, myself, I'm hearing it all the time from my guides, right? It's a split of growing apart to kind of come back together. It's a very unique thing. I've been told by a few different, I don't like to call them guides. Some of them are guides. Some of these people just tuned into me through, my pineal gland, through that radio station that we are out there in the cosmos, plus in my former lives out there, I'm open to that. Anybody that's not a bullshit, or whatever, even if they are, if they're not preaching a message of fucking hate and fear and paranoia, completely. When it's needed, maybe a tad bit, but, that's not the norm. And it's not really put in that way. But, it's strange. As the world's getting more, on one hand, if you still vibe down in that 3D level, it probably seems as chaotic as, here in America anytime, I don't know when, since the Civil Rights Movement, since the 60s, and even more so really, because then there was, media was limited, okay? Yes, there was 3 major networks, but that was it. If you could get all 3 of those, even where you lived by an antenna. But, a news from overseas took 3 or 4, it was, a few days old until about the mid-70s, because, you had to uplink that shit before the advent of satellites. It was really a prehistoric way of doing stuff. So, but what I'm getting at by saying all that is the chaos, everything going on, right? It keeps getting more intense. But then on the other side of it, too, it's man, we're tuning more and more out from that world, those of us that are awakened, right? Yet keeping it, understanding that it's there. We still have these neighbors on the astral realm, practically now, these neighbors in another dimension that are, not quite with it. Some of them might have a screw loose. Light Code Larry puts that in the most loving of a way, a screw loose. But really, it's just, something to know, something to take notice of and keep going with it. And all we have is the now moment. Really, you hear that a million times. I'm sure trust me, if that was the first time you've ever heard that said, you probably shouldn't be listening to what I'm saying. Really though, there is only right now, and we don't know. We make the own reality. We'll see where it goes. I think we're always waiting to want to get to an outcome, right? And I know that's only natural. Light Code Larry has, believe it or not, Light Code Larry has been impatient before in his life too. Now and then. More now than then, and more then than now, and both. But all we know is what we know in the time we're in, right? But we can be diligent about it, and yet still, at the same time, we can manifest our own future as a collective of human beings, like in the Pleiades. That's, everybody's in their own complete power, but yet all in oneness, because everybody is completely into what they are, and everybody accepts everybody for what they believe within themselves, and, a true oneness, When we realize that one and one is all, we become a rock and not a roll, to quote Led Zeppelin. Yeah. I'll let you figure out the name of that, what that song is from. So, all we have is right now. Really, and we can make the most of right now. We can take this opportunity right now to just do the best we can, and really all the best that we really need to do in this now moment is to not think really ill will of anybody else. No. Luckily, Light Code Larry isn't really stewing about anybody or anything right at the second, so it's easy for him to say, I know. But dear souls, you know what I'm saying? All we can do is think positive thoughts from here. And you know what? And the more we put our minds together and start manifesting these thoughts, of peace and a better life. And I know that sounds all like a bunch of bullshit you've heard a million times before, and you probably have, and I have too. But, you know, I mean, what's it going to hurt for us to try it? You know, give a few seconds a day. Yeah, hey, how about give 20 seconds? Not even that. Here, Uncle Larry will ask you for, maybe 10 seconds of your day, maybe a little more, maybe a little less, but just put the intention out there for everything to work out for the world, for the collective, for everyone in the collective as good as they would want it to, and for the collective as a whole. But, you know, Light Code Larry could spin right round, baby, right round, like a record, baby, right round, round, round. However, that being said, much love to Pleiadian and Angelic Rainbow Orbs page. Much love to everybody on all the social media platforms that are everywhere that I'm on, except for SunCloud, probably. Lemonadian, Pleiadian, Blue Sky Orbs. But yeah, just keep that in mind as you're traversing your way and just trying to make your way back on this middle of the week here as I come to you from the west coast of the United States in the Pacific Northwest. You know, well, that's about as exciting as Mr. Light Code's going to get tonight. He's zigged, he's zagged, he's zinged, he's zoomed, and he's gone everywhere and anywhere. So that's what's going on with Light Code Larry. And with that, we'll talk at you again in a future now moment.